Hello again, this is Hachiri, and we are back in FTB Interactions. Now, a lot's been going on. I know I said I was going to build a automated polyethylene setup the next time we came, and then I came to the realization that that ain't going to cut it. So, I have a manual set up here, just thrown together. We have a chest on top going into a brewery, which is making biomass, feeding it to a distillery to make ethanol. Ethanol I manually move into here to make ethylene. And then with that, I've also been splitting the outputs because I've been making two separate sets of things. I set up a workbench here to make salt. And I set up another thing here, and I'll pull water out. We would throw that into a reactor to make salt water. We'd electrolyze it to get chlorine and make vinyl chloride with the ethanol and the chlorine. And then over here on this back side, we have an air collector. And that's what I've been using. I've just been using air to make the polyvinyl chloride, and then if you combine ethylene and air, you get polyethylene. Yeah, I can use oxygen. I'm not producing enough oxygen right now to use oxygen, so we went with that. The other thing is, and it's kind of funny because this is actually my third attempt at recording this today, is we started building some large facilities here, and by large I mean large. We're expanding. This building is going to house our new fuel setup as well as the polyethylene setup and all its various byproducts. Well, the byproducts are actually going to get moved to the chemical building, but which isn't built yet, but it's going to be over there. Just imagine that there is a large building right there. That's where it's going to be. So we got spectre trees, we got a slime tree in here, we got an oak, and we got 4 rubber trees. I could have made this all just rubber, but truth be told, we can use all of these saplings here for biomass, and we can centrifuge these and get the plant balls and use that for biomass, and also use the byproducts from these for various other things, such as making the phenolic circuit boards for the good circuits and the basic electronic circuits. But you may be asking, is like, but Hotch, why would we do that? I saw you made polyethylene. You can make some SMD parts and stuff. Well, that's true. I can make integrated circuits. I've made it integrated. I've actually made so many integrated circuits that I got a stack of processor assembly, so we can actually start building HV machines and parts and such. But the thing is we still have like all these other parts and all this other stuff, so we might as well keep a steady supply of these boards, because we can use the SMD stuff for all tier circuits. This is true, but we might as well, because like, keep the board, and then we could just continue making like these circuits and just be fine with it, because why not? We don't have to make the integrated processors constantly for everything. It requires a lot of parts, and I mean, these are better used for making the processor assemblies right now. So the other thing is the new fuel system. The steam isn't enough to handle all of the machines. If I was running everything constantly automated, this would be gone in a second. I actually nearly drained this running all the machines, making polyvinyl and polyethylene by hand. And I mean, these parts are actually very easy to make. I have 3 lenses made already. And, you know, diamond lens, ruby lens. I think I have a green sapphire lens as well. And that's basically how I've been making wafers. And then you cut those wafers into the various parts. Now, one thing I will point out, I have an advanced cutting saw here. And the reason I have this is because some of the wafers require this advanced cutting machine. So we basically replaced our old cutting machine with the advanced one. Now, the reason I made the polyvinyl chloride is, one, we needed it for these circuit boards and parts. And, well, that's actually the reason why we needed it for the circuit board and parts. And I made a whole bunch of it. I made 64 buckets of it, and I turned all of it into plates. There's a little bit of leftover, but I turned all of it into plates, and I had 444 of these plates when I started. And I've used almost all of them. Now, that took me a while. I basically had this setup going. And I just waited and came back to a full barrel of ethanol and started processing that. This has been an all-day thing, and it is what it is. It took a long, long time. But, I mean, these parts right here is essentially all that was required to make the integrated circuits and the assembly, minus the red alloy wire. I've gone through a lot of red alloy wire, and specifically fine red alloy wire. And I'm actually almost out again, so we'll just get another stack going. But yeah, you go through a lot of parts on this. But I've made the 64 processor assembly, so that will hold us for a good part of what's going on. Now, in the previous videos I attempted to make, giving the grand tour of what I plan on doing, I started getting parts together to try to make an item collector. And we need quite a few item collectors, I think. Because if I had a garden under every single one of these for soybeans, and I was collecting in every single one, I would need, I think, I don't know what the actual range is on these item collectors. So I'll assume I need 15. I probably don't, but I'll assume I need 15. So with that assumption in mind, we're going to make one of these, and we're going to see just how dangerous it is. I don't know if I have all the stuff. It says it's a moderate instability, but we're going to at least take a look, because if it's too unstable, then I'll have to build some stabilization stuff. But hopefully that's not the case. I hope. And I don't even know if I have all the stuff for it. Item collector. Because it says you can find them in dungeons. Well, I've only found one dungeon that hasn't been looted by people. Let's see. Permeado, Modus, Facus, and Alienus. Alright, so I got some Permeado. Got a little Bacchus here. Do I have Alienus? I don't have Alienus. I don't think. Let's put you up for a second. Okay, Earth. What are you? Okay. Whatever that skull one is. Yeah, so I don't have Alienus. So I need Alienus. What else do we need? What else do we need for this? Bacchus, Permeado, Modus. Do I have Modus? Don't have Modus either. Alright, so... what are my sources of this? Shulker boxes, okay. Ender shards. I wonder how much an ender pearl gives. I mean, I don't have many ender pearls, but... well, a block of ender pearls 30. Not seeing ender pearl anywhere. It gives 10 and 15. Huh. So if I plopped a couple of ender pearls, that would give us what we need. I don't have many. This is gonna hurt. While I'm here, do I have my gauntlet on me? Nope. Yeah, that's like... got that in there, and then... alright, so we got a couple of ender pearls. I'll just throw this in here. And see where it goes. Alright, so we're picking up that jar. And it looks like we're picking up that jar. How much is in here? Oh. 16. And 26. I think that's just barely enough to try this. Now this could end poorly. This could end with bad things happening. I honestly don't know. I've never attempted this. But we will see. And we will hope that I can make this and it's not too bad. So we gotta wash the items and make sure they don't get knocked off. Okay, it actually made. Nice. Nice. Alright, so we're going to need to find more sources of alienness. And go from there later. Now that we have that, oh, that's not bad. That's like easy mode upgrade. I guess if you you risk making this, they let you upgrade it pretty easily. Now, random things. I don't know what the default range of this is. I guess you can only place it on a inventory. So let's grab ourselves an inventory. We're gonna test the range of this, because this is a 5 by 5 building, chunk-wise. So if I come over here, this is like the end, and I throw this down, it doesn't collect. Alright, that's because it's probably on its default range, so let's take a look. Alright, so it has like a radius of whatever. Alright, so we're at max radius. Do you pick up right here? You do not. You pick up right there. Nope. Okay, picked up right here. Does it pick up there? No. Right here. Seems to be the magical spot. So if we take a look, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So it's literally 10 blocks away from this. Okay. Okay. So it's a 21 by 21 radius. That's what I needed to know. Alright. So with that in mind, yes, we are without a doubt going to need to make 15 of those. So I need to find another source of alienness, because I ain't using pearls. I guess I'll have to search for this later, because I'm not really finding any good sources. Banners. That might be... I mean, it's a lot of wool, but... that might be how we do that. Pulsating iron also gives it. Ancient stone gives it. Now we do have access to a lot of ancient stone, so we have ways. So that's all that matters. So we'll work on that. We'll actually have these made next time we come. But yeah, so looking at that, we gotta upgrade the power system. And just going back on subject. So we're going to be going to biodiesel first. Now I have found oil. Oil is going to be expensive to process. Just because we need distillation towers to do it. And the casings and stuff for that. The clean stainless steel, that's a lot of stainless steel. And to process oil, you're actually going to need several of those to really effectively do it. We could probably run one and just go with base oil and go to diesel. But the other thing is that's a finite resource. It's not infinite. We can't automate it and make it infinite. And it's just not going to work. Now, biodiesel, on the other hand, we can do. And the great thing about biodiesel is the pyro ovens to make the wood vinegar, to make the methanol, etc., makes a crap ton of charcoal. And we can use all of that charcoal to just produce coke. So we're actually bypassing these 4 here and going straight to Creo coke production, which works out. The next thing is once we get the biodiesel, we'll be able to easily power through everything, because we'll have steam as a secondary, and we'll probably still use steam for powering some parts. Like I may keep the steam going just to power the pyro ovens, because the pyro ovens, pyroclase ovens, to make the wood vinegar, it's 64 a tick. It's not a lot, just an MV. And if we have 3 of those at MV, that's going to be probably 1 boiler, to be honest. So it'll be just enough to keep itself going. And like right now, we have all these machines. Every single one of our machines are steam, all of them. And we're just not going to be producing enough. It was good for the interim, but it's time to move on. It's time to upgrade. It's time to look towards the horizons. It's time to actually change what we're doing, because I mean, this just isn't working. So we'll start off making 1 or 2 HV machines. We're only going to make HV as needed to get through the setup for power. And once we have that setup done, it's going to be pretty much MV and HV all the way. All diesel. And I may even look into the diesel engine, because there's a big multi-block diesel engine that you can make. Now, it requires titanium and crystal displays and stuff, but we'll eventually need this for EV. This is how we get to EV. But once we're at that point, we're good. So that's what we'll be doing in the long run. In the short term, though, we got to get the diesel factory going. We got to get all of our generators upgraded. And we need to get just stuff built overall. Now, something I've been considering is just making MV diesel generators only. And the reason I'm thinking of going with just MV is we can break that out into 4 generators worth of LV. And I mean, when we get to that point and we start automating and we start building everything, our machines, it's not going to matter about the loss at that point because we're just not going to care. We'll set up a 16 amp line and we'll have power pumping in every X blocks of it. And that will handle it. And then we can look into serious ore processing at that point too. So yeah, that's going to be a plan. We're going to have oil processing out that building. We're going to have a chemical building right out here. Now I know you see that there's this altar set up here. That's going to be removed. This altar needs to be moved down 1. And these are Lucerna rituals to keep mobs from spawning. Because a couple of the guys are actually really close to hitting space. So, just in case they hit space, we have Lucerna going on around and everything's happy in our area. This is, if you remember, there used to be a massive desert mountain here. It's gone. It's going to be replaced by our oil facilities. That will be out here. And here soon there'll be a giant wall and such as well. I do have some oil out in the desert out there. There's also oil out here. Now there is a siren spawn right there. I'm not worried about that unless they respawn. And now I'm getting paranoid in case they do respawn. So we're going to quickly throw this on. And we're just gonna take a quick stroll over here because I'm kind of curious if the sirens respawn. I don't think they do, but they might. And it'd be interesting if they do. Nope, doesn't look like it. Good. So yeah, there's a bunch of oil out here. There's also a whole bunch of guardians and stuff out here as well. And this place is a war zone. A literal war zone. There's constantly sea dragons spawning out here. And you'll see just guardians and like squid death all the way out there. So definitely a lot of fun. Actually, during one of my jaunts out there, I actually got a bunch of scales from sea serpents and from the sirens that were killed in the Great War, the Great Guardian War. It was great. Loads of fun. Fun time for all. So I think that's about it for what we're going to be doing, and just a quick catch up. Massive construction's underway. There was a lot done. Like, we have all of the blank runes for this. We do have a solid steel boiler. And that will be going up at some point. That is courtesy of another player, but I told him I wasn't going to use it until I at least got processor assemblies. We did get our processor assemblies made right there. And then that's about it. The only other thing that went on is I went mass mining. I have not processed this stuff yet. I still need to actually go into the nether again and finish clearing out some of that. All the bauxite and tantalite and such. Because I need that for processing. And I think that's about it. I did have a massive chisel set up that I tore down. And essentially what it was doing, it was producing infinite X-tones blocks using igneous extruders. One to make stone and a crafter that took that stone and turned it into the X-tones tiles. And then the other one just took gravel and the tiles and made quartz blocks. And I had a all of that making quartz and an auto chisel chiseling it into the one I plan on using. And how I was able to do that is I made a thaumium chisel. If you make a chisel with thaumium for both the head and the handle, you end up with 5 modifiers, and then you can just use the reinforcement upgrade to make it infinite. And that's what I would recommend doing for the auto chisel. That way you can just set it and forget it and it'll make the blocks you want, and you don't have to worry about it. How I cleared the mountain is this void card and a builder. And the reason this is important is the void card doesn't require power. See, base cost is 0 RF per tick. So it doesn't require power to clear things. It just deletes everything. And if I remember right, that's not default. So they actually made that to allow you to terraform. So we have that. That's how I terraformed that. I emptied out the Viz farm and moved the crystals. Because we're going to be ripping out that mountain. I set homes at our nether dungeon and at some of our mines. I think we're going to set a home at where the nether portal is in the nether. And then we're going to tear out the nether portal in here as well. And once that portal's out, all that's left then is terraforming the entire area. I've already cleared out the mining nodes in here. I do have my little bit of mushrooms here, but I emptied out the coal vein, and I have emptied out the tin vein that was here. So those are all completely gone. And I don't know of anything else to point out. Polishing the site. I can't walk around stone without it turning into something. So, which is actually a nifty perk. If you guys are finding that getting aquamarine is a pain and you can't really do it, you can do rituals to spawn it. You can find it, I believe, in space. And another thing you can do is, let me find my book. There is a perk And this perk right here, stone enrichment, stone might turn into more valuable stone. A lot of the rare stones that don't spawn naturally, like say amber bearing stone or aquamarine shale, they spawn with this. Any stone can turn into it. And that's how I've been getting things like my runed marble and my aquamarine and things of that nature. So I just stand in a stone cave for a little bit and then I can just mine it up. It's great. The other thing is I will give a warning at a few things on this. One of the perk sets looks like it will be great, and it is really good for terraforming, but it's not so great for mining. Not in this pack, not when you want clean mining. And that's the chain mining thing. Because the veins are so many different ores in different various clusters, the chain mining makes big messes and makes it very, very difficult because they're not all connected. So when you're mining ore, you might get one or two. It's not a problem. But if you hit stone, it creates such a mess. And I ended up having to reset my perks because of that. Another thing I will say is the breaking aim. It disarms the target. It does a little more than disarm the target. Yes, you can get its weapon and shield with it. You can also get the target's armor. And this affects players. On one hand, this is fantastic. On another hand, it's a very, very annoying. And because, like, I attacked a player with my magical boomerang. Alright, that's fine. Except it has Kaboomerang 3. It stripped him of his pants and his boots. It blew up his boots, and it gave me his pant armor. And he had flux gear on. So that was less than pleasant. We had to get him some new gear made. And yeah, that was fun. Although I kind of caught him off guard too, because he wasn't expecting me to be able to just take his armor off like that. So, that's about it. We did get our jetpack made. I completed that during one of the recordings that had to be scrapped. But the jetpack is made. And basically, what you got to do is you make hydrogen, like so. But you don't use this hydrogen. You got to throw it in a chemical reactor first with a circuit set to 5. That will turn it into mechanism liquid hydrogen. Then you can put it in here and decondense it into the gas and use it as fuel. But not before. Not before. Trying to think if there's anything else to go over. That's probably one of the main things that I would say to know is learn from my mistakes. Don't fill your rotary condenser with GregTech hydrogen. You'll have to just pump it all out. Other than that, not a whole lot that is new. So that pretty much covers the summary of what was done while I was gone. We did make an auto knacker thing. I don't know if I showed this off. Input goes here, output comes here. You stick your nuggets in there, and it automatically makes knacker. But other than that, I don't see really anything else that I may have missed other than the automated concrete that I was doing. And I think that's pretty much it. So I'm going to wrap this up now. And I'll probably get the farms built, at least planted and set up off camera, and get all that set up down here. And then when we come back, we'll get the rest of the stuff built. I'm going to be spending some time getting the various machine parts built, because there's quite a bit we got to get built in order to set up the diesel, the biodiesel. And we'll also look into the poly afterwards. We'll get all the parts for that, but we won't turn it on until we get the biodiesel going. So my voice is starting to go out, so because I'm, like I said, still sick. And we'll come back tomorrow. I'll try to get another one going tomorrow, and hopefully we get enough done to do a recording and start getting that power upgrade going. Until then, have a wonderful day, and we'll talk to you later.